Hey Glow Village, what's up? Okay, I want to play a little piece from the Chris Hedges report, and it relates to one of my favourite science outreach communicators who runs a podcast called Mindscape, Sean Carroll. Now, he also has monthly Ask Me Anything episodes, and there was one particular episode where he was asked why he had been so silent and muted about the, let's just call it the situation happening in Palestine. And his response was so cautious, so milquetoast. It was of the flavour that he characterized what was happening as if this was two sides behaving really badly, and he just wishes that they would stop trying to kill each other, and he didn't want to talk further about it because he just didn't think he could really add anything further to the conversation. And that was pretty much all he was willing to say on it. Now, for me, this was incredibly disappointing because up until now, I had always characterized Sean as quite fearless in his willingness to call a spade and, to just be on the side of empirical evidence. And more further to that, I've always found him to have a very solid moral compass. So, a person that I could admire both in terms of his intellect, but also his integrity and his morality. But something felt very wrong about the way he replied to this question. And I left a small message in his on his YouTube channel for that particular episode, expressing my personal disappointment on it. And the honest truth is, I haven't really been able to watch any of his episodes since, just because I feel disillusioned. Now, don't get me wrong, I think he is superb at what he does, and I wouldn't hesitate to recommend him to anyone who is interested in empirical scientific discussions about all manner of topics. He is very broad brush, but he applies the same kind of strong, rational empiricism to every conversation he has. But nonetheless, it felt to me like an incredible cop-out, like such a surprising act of cowardice to simply not call a spade and, condemn Israel for committing a genocide. It's not that hard to actually call what they're doing what it actually is. But he absolutely did not go near that. Now, the reason I want to play a little piece of this Chris Hedges episode is that I think it goes to explain very clearly why he's keeping his mouth shut. So let's just take a listen.
Dr. Mara Finkelstein, a tenured associate professor and chair of the Department of Sociology and Anthropology at Muhlenberg College, was fired in January 2024 solely because of one anti-Zionist repost on Instagram after being trolled for months by Zionists on social media. Zionists, including students and alumni at the college, denounced her, quote, dangerous pro-Hamas rhetoric and, quote, blatant classroom bias against Jewish students. Finkelstein, who is Jewish, was attacked online as a self-hating Jew, a Nazi, and a capo. Her detractors posted that her family must be ashamed of her, that her mother should have aborted her, that she would soon lose her job, and that, quote, we're watching you, end quote. A Change.org petition with some 8,000 signers called for her termination. It posted screenshots of Finkelstein's post, a photo of her on October 12th in a keffiyeh patterned face mask, and a tank top that read anti-Zionist vibes only, below which she had written Free Gaza, Free Palestine, Stop the Ongoing Genocide by the Israeli and American war machines. In another October 26 post, she wrote, "Israel does not have the right to defend its occupation." The petition prompted the Department of Education to launch an investigation into Muhlenberg. The firing of Finkelstein is an ominous threat to academic freedom.
Yeah, so I will link this particular episode so you can check out the full interview that I believe he's about to have. But just I think the opening rhetoric here really says everything. That the threat to your career in America, in universities and in the education sector, if you make any explicit pro-Palestinian or anti-Zionist statements, is very real. And it could severely limit or straight up end your career. And by the sounds of what he's saying here, there is real threat to your personal and physical safety. So, we cannot underestimate just how powerful the pro-Zionist lobby group, how much control it is able to exert over society and all aspects of society, including academia. So this would explain why Sean Carroll, one of my favorite creators in the science space, is probably, not willing to go near this with a 10-foot pole. And it's disappointing, but then again, if the threat to my career was this real, simply by offering, I think some quite valid moral criticism of what's going on in Palestine, then, I can understand why. And, perhaps I can convince myself maybe to not be quite so judgmental of his decision, despite the fact it has disappointed me. Because, it's probably not going to do the world much good if he doesn't have a job. It's hard to overstate the magnitude of what the world is having to confront here. I actually don't believe that anything is going to stop Israel from continuing and completing this genocide unless the world actually breaks itself out of this Zionist-controlled stupor and says enough is enough and takes action. I'm just scared about how much further this will go before that happens, or if it even does happen. I can see videos, unfiltered videos leaking of thousands of Palestinians dying en masse of starvation and disease, and mass graves being built, and burn-offs of human bodies to control and limit the spread of disease. I can see that happening, and not very far away, if something significant is not done to stop this madness. We're running out of time, and as per the rhetoric we've seen here, this is not hyperbole. The system of support that is holding the world transfixed so that it will not react to the crimes against humanity that are occurring in front of our very eyes is very real. Anyway, Bendy out.